There is a mystery many people ignore. Your week responds to your voice. Nothing in your life has the permission to move until you authorize it through what you say. You see, speech is not just a social tool, it is a creative force. Words are not mere sounds, they are carriers of intention, containers of energy, and transmitters of direction. When you speak, you are not just expressing yourself, you are establishing the environment your life must operate in. If you begin a new week with silence, the week becomes undefined. It has no structure, no expectation, no emotional or spiritual momentum. Silence is not neutrality. Silence is agreement with whatever randomness chooses to offer. But when you open your mouth and declare, this week will align with purpose, this week will answer to my effort, this week will cooperate with my destiny, you are assigning shape and structure to what would otherwise be formless. Most people wait to see what the week brings before they speak. But the wise speak first, and then the week aligns. This is not superstition. This is psychology and spiritual law working in harmony. The human mind responds to the words it hears most frequently, especially when those words come from the self. And whatever the mind accepts as truth, it attracts, interprets, and reinforces through behavior. That means your declarations are not just spiritual, they are neurological. Every time you speak life, speak clarity, speak possibility, you are reprogramming your internal environment to recognize opportunities instead of threats. You are training your emotions to cooperate with focus instead of fear. And gradually, what you say becomes what you see. This is why you must guard your declarations, never speak from fatigue, frustration, or fear. Those emotions are temporary, but the words they produce can create long-term consequences. Instead, speak from revelation, speak from intention, speak from the understanding that your voice is the steering wheel of your destiny. When you wake up tomorrow morning, do not just enter the week. Announce yourself to it. Tell the day what to deliver. Tell opportunities where to find you. Tell challenges how to behave. You don't speak because life is perfect. You speak so life can align. Let this be your meditation. If my words create my world, then I will speak with purpose. Prosperity never begins with money, opportunities, or connections. Prosperity begins with the architecture of your mind. Before anything in your external life rises, your internal life must first expand. Your thoughts form the blueprint that your reality eventually follows. This is why two people can face the same environment, the same week, the same set of circumstances, and yet produce completely different outcomes. One is operating from clarity, the other from confusion. One is functioning from possibility, the other from limitation. The difference is not in the world around them, but in the world within them. You have to understand that the mind is not a passive organ. It is an active sculptor. It shapes perception, filters experiences, and determines what you interpret as opportunity or threat. Prosperity requires more than desire. It requires a mindset that can recognize increase when it appears, sustain growth when it comes, and adapt when change is demanded. Without that mental infrastructure, even blessings become burdens and opportunities become overwhelming. Many people are praying for things their minds are not yet prepared to manage. They want abundance, but their thoughts are still trapped in scarcity. They want open doors, but their internal dialogue is still negotiating with fear. They want progress, but every idea they entertain begins with doubt. You cannot step into a prosperous week with a mind conditioned by last week's limitations. You have to confront the quiet conversations you have with yourself. Those subtle beliefs that whisper, maybe you're not enough, maybe it won't work, maybe things don't change for people like you. When the mind shifts, everything else follows. When you begin to think in alignment with purpose, your decisions become more decisive, your emotions more regulated, your priorities more disciplined. Suddenly, you start noticing patterns, not problems. You see pathways instead of obstacles. You interpret delays as preparation rather than rejection. This is the psychology of prosperity. the ability to interpret life from a place of strength instead of fear. So, as you enter this new week, don't just ask for a prosperous journey, cultivate the mindset that can sustain it. Train your thoughts to agree with increase, not survival, because when your mind expands, your life has no choice but to follow. Let this truth settle deeply within you. Where your mind goes, your week will follow. There is a truth many people often overlook. Discipline is the bridge between prophecy and manifestation. You can receive a powerful declaration over your life. You can speak with conviction. You can carry vision in your heart. But without disciplined action, all of it remains potential. Discipline is what translates intention into movement and movement into results. It is the system that converts hope into outcomes. A prosperous week is not simply something you expect. It is something you prepare for, and that preparation is not emotional, it is structured. Discipline means creating an internal environment that supports the future you desire. It means choosing consistency over convenience, responsibility over impulse, and long-term gain over short-term comfort. Without discipline, even the greatest opportunities slip through your fingers because you are not positioned to receive them. Psychologically, discipline rewires the brain. Every repeated action strengthens neural pathways, teaching your mind to prioritize what aligns with your goals. Over time, discipline shifts from effort to identity. You no longer force yourself. You become the kind of person who follows through. And the moment discipline becomes part of your identity, progress becomes predictable. Philosophically, discipline is a statement of honor. It is how you show respect to the future you desire. When you wake up early, when you choose focus, when you follow the plan you set, these are all declarations that your destiny matters enough to be scheduled, protected, and nurtured. Prosperity does not answer to wishful thinking. It answers to aligned behavior. It answers to a life that is structured to host growth. You must understand that discipline is not rigidity. It is alignment. It is not restricting your life. It is organizing your energy so that you stop scattering your potential. Too many people pray for open doors but lack the structure to walk through them. They want increase but cannot manage the little they already have. Without discipline, blessings become overwhelming and opportunities become wasted. As you enter this new week, don't simply anticipate success, prepare for it. Build routines that support your goals. Eliminate habits that drain your momentum. Create systems that honor your purpose. Because no matter how powerful the promise, without discipline, it will remain unrealized. Carry this truth with you as you step into the days ahead. What you commit to consistently will eventually commit itself to you. There is a dimension of progress that hard work alone cannot produce. Hard work initiates movement, it sets things in motion. But there is a realm of acceleration that only favor can supply. Many people misunderstand this balance. They either rely entirely on effort and become exhausted, or they rely solely on hope and become disappointed. True prosperity emerges when the two forces, your diligence and divine favor, work together in harmony. Think of it this way. Your effort creates the seed, but favor determines the speed. Effort prepares the vessel, but favor fills it. Effort positions you in the right place, but favor ensures you are seen, remembered, and chosen. You can work tirelessly, but without favor, your results will always match only your strength. When favor enters the equation, the outcome surpasses logic, expectations, and sometimes even your qualifications. From a psychological perspective, favor influences the way people perceive you. It creates an intuitive sense of trust, goodwill, and openness in the minds of those connected to your destiny. People feel drawn to support you, to open doors for you, to speak well of you even when you haven't asked. Favor makes your presence noticeable in environments where others are overlooked. It creates a sense of alignment that you cannot manufacture with strategy alone. Philosophically, favor represents the idea that life is not purely mechanical. There are unseen variables, moments of timing, intersections of grace. connections that appear at the perfect moment that no amount of planning could have engineered. These moments are reminders that success is not merely the reward of human effort, but the interplay of divine orchestration and human responsibility. And yet, favor is not a substitute for excellence. It multiplies excellence. It does not cancel responsibility, it energizes it. When favor rests on your labor, ordinary becomes exceptional. Small steps produce large outcomes. Delayed seasons suddenly break open with long-awaited results. As you enter this new week, work diligently, yes, but do not idolize effort. Leave room for the wind of favor to blow upon what you build. Expect acceleration. Expect unexpected opportunities. Expect doors that you did not even know existed. Carry this truth with you throughout your week. When your effort meets favor, the results will always exceed the work that produced them. One of the greatest hindrances to a prosperous week is not the opposition ahead of you. It is the emotional residue behind you. Far too many people attempt to step into a new season while still carrying the weight of old disappointments. They bring yesterday's fear into today's opportunities. They bring past failures into present possibilities. But you cannot hold the future with hands that are still gripping the past. If you want to receive this new week fully, you must release what no longer serves your growth. Letting go is not denial. It is not pretending the pain wasn't real or the setback wasn't difficult. Letting go is an act of psychological wisdom and spiritual maturity. It is the recognition that your mind cannot function in clarity while it is congested with old narratives. You cannot move with precision when your emotional energy is divided between where you are and where you used to be. Every unprocessed disappointment becomes a silent negotiator, influencing your confidence, your decisions, and your expectations. Many people do not realize how subtly yesterday's experiences shape today's behavior. A failure from last month can make you overthink simple tasks. A betrayal from last year can make you misinterpret genuine kindness. A lost opportunity can create caution even in moments that require courage. And without awareness, you begin to sabotage the very breakthroughs you are praying for. Not because the future is against you, but because you are still fighting shadows of the past. Philosophically, letting go is an invitation to reclaim authorship over your story. It allows you to say, I acknowledge what happened, but I refuse to let it define the tone of my week. Spiritually, letting go is a posture of trust. It is the surrender of what you cannot change in exchange for the possibilities that are now before you. As you step into this new week, release the emotional clutter. Let go of the familiar discouragements. Let go of the self-blame. Let go of the narratives that tell you nothing changes. The past is a classroom, not a prison. Learn from it, but do not live in it. Carry this truth with you. You cannot step into a prosperous week if your heart is still living in an unhealed yesterday. There is a posture you must carry into a prosperous week, and that posture is faith, not fear. Fear narrows your vision, faith expands it. Fear rehearses what could go wrong. Faith identifies what could be transformed. Fear anchors you to the familiar. Faith invites you into possibility. And the truth is, every new week presents a choice whether you will interpret the unknown with anxiety or with expectation. Many people underestimate how deeply fear shapes their decisions. Fear makes you think small, act small, believe small. It convinces you that caution is wisdom when, in reality, it is often just disguised hesitation. And while caution has its place, it should never become the default lens through which you interpret your life. Fear creates a psychological ceiling, a mental boundary that you treat as truth. But those boundaries are illusions constructed by past experiences, internal insecurities, or cultural conditioning. Faith, on the other hand, is not blind positivity. It is informed courage. It is the alignment of your mind with the belief that progress is possible. It is the decision to step forward even when every variable is not yet visible. Faith says, I may not know everything ahead, but I know enough to move. And that movement is often what activates the clarity you are waiting for. Spiritually, faith positions you to receive what fear would have pushed away. Fear makes you withdraw. Faith makes you reachable. Fear closes you. Faith opens you. And it is only the open heart that can recognize divine timing, unexpected opportunities, and meaningful connections. When you approach your week with fear, you approach it defensively. When you approach it with faith, you approach it intentionally. Psychologically, faith shifts the chemistry of your thinking. It activates hope, which strengthens your resilience. It fuels motivation, which sustains your discipline. It shapes your interpretation of challenges, not as threats, but as stepping stones. Faith doesn't remove difficulty. It reframes it. And that reframing is often what determines whether you persist long enough to see results. As you step into this new week, resist the urge to shrink. Resist the stories that fear whispers. Resist the belief that you are unprepared or unsupported. Move with confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because you are learning to trust the process. Carry this truth with you. Fear limits the weak. Faith unlocks it.